Netflix is releasing more and more movies. And when Netflix first started doing movies, it was a lot of stuff that it was on Netflix because it couldn't go to a theater. But it is interesting to me that Netflix at this point in the game is producing really good content. And things that I could go to the theater and watch and be totally satisfied. And one of those movies is Marriage Story, which we got to check out this weekend. So the thing that drove me to Marriage Story really was...
Say it. Say what drove you.
Adam Driver.
There you go.
Did you hear that? I said Adam Driver, but I whispered it just in case. It was Adam Driver.
I'm lost.
So,
Adam Driver drove him to wanting to watch the movie.
There's this thing called Actors, Jeremy?
Yes. No.
And a thing called puns?
See, I just didn't register that he said
So,
the word drove.
So Adam Driver is the lead actor in the movie. And he's acting alongside Scarlett Johansson. And right off the bat, the first thing about this movie is that these two have such great chemistry.
They really do. I'm not a big ScarJo fan, but... You know, the more and more that she's in things that aren't like the fucking Avengers, the more I like her as an actress. I just really think I don't like the Avengers. Like, no, I'm not that I don't like the Avengers. No, not that I don't like the Avengers. I just, that was my fault, and I've been yelling
if you're an
at
audio
everybody
listener,
the whole time.
look what you're missing out on.
Yes, look at what you're missing out on.
You missed out on such amazing content, such as we knocked over a camera.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that it's not that I'm not saying I don't like the Avengers. I love the Avengers, obviously. I just don't care at all for Black Widow, like at all. I think she is probably the weakest of all of the Avengers, and I'm talking about all of them. And it's just not for me, and that's what makes me, I think, not like her. But now that she's been in things that aren't, Marvel related, I think that I'm actually starting to appreciate her as an actress, because I think she was probably my favorite part of Jojo Rabbit when we saw it.
Oh, she was so good.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So and I am not a huge fan. So I think that seeing her in that, and then seeing her in this, seeing her in this really.
That's okay. Keep going.
Really elevated my my experience while watching her perform. I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think part of your not liking ScarJo may stem from that if you've only seen the Avengers and not... Winter Soldier, I think she's great in.
I've seen other movies that Scarlett Johansson is in. I just haven't been overly impressed with any of them.
I think the big thing...
She was in Home Alone 3.
The big thing that made me like Scarlett Johansson was her. Because in that she was
the
actress Scarlett Johansson is what made me like Scarlett Johansson. No, the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, she has such a good performance in that, and it's only her voice. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, because she carried the movie by herself, and she's not even on screen. And ever since then, I've really, really liked Scarlett Johansson. And I gotta say, I love Adam Driver, but I actually really dug Scarlett Johansson's performance, even maybe over his.
Because you brought up Jojo Rabbit, I want to make a quick aside. I don't know if you are familiar with Letterboxd, the app or website or whatever. The Letterboxd
Is this
app,
a paid sponsorship?
This is not a paid sponsorship.
Oh,
I was just looking for things on it the other day, and it has lists of movies, and one of them I found was called Scarlett Johansson Tying Shoes in 2019, and the only two movies were Jojo Rabbit and Marriage Story.
Oh yeah, she does.
She does tie shoes a few times.
I sent you another list, which was Eat the Rich films. 2019 Eat the Rich films in which a woman throws up. Ordered in order of
what
how
are you
important
Googling?
The what do you mean? It just came up on this app. I sent you this.
Yeah, but
2019
in conjunction...
It wasn't a Google. You don't... No. Okay.
It wasn't a Google.
2019 Eat the Rich films in which a woman throws up, ordered by how much the throwing up is important to the plot. Knives Out...
is number one.
Knives Out was number one.
Sweet.
And then the others, I remember what they are. Number two was a movie that we saw, and it's called. I don't know, but the third one was Ready or Not.
Jeremy, was it fucking called Marriage Story?
It
Because then
wasn't
what are we
called Marriage
talking
Story.
about?
I don't know. I got really sidetracked here. Let's talk about
Marriage Story.
I don't
Oh
have
my
anything to
God.
talk about with Marriage Story, and then I just wanted to.
God, I can't wait to jump in when you're talking about Klaus and start talking about fucking.
Yeah, here's a list of
Fucking
all the times Santa
toilet
was
paper, I don't
animated.
know.
Santa Claus 2.
Anyway, you were saying that you think that ScarJo's performance really sold it for you. I'm going to disagree. I mean, not that I didn't. I mean, she was incredible, but I mean, I just love Adam Driver, and I really like. As much as I sympathize for her in the movie, I really sympathize for Adam Driver in the movie, and I think that just had to do. I don't know if like on paper I would have sympathized with him, but I think his performance really just drove that whole character, you know, and his story. I just thought that he did such an amazing job.
And I definitely actually agree with that. I think that of the two, you're made to like Adam Driver more as the movie starts.
No, I
And
actually think
it's-
you're made to like Adam Driver more towards the end of the movie.
You think?
Yes. I actually think in the beginning you're meant to side with Scarlett Johansson, especially when she's telling her story of the marriage to Nora, which happens in the beginning of the
Right.
towards the beginning of the movie. But then once you see things how they unfold after she says that, you really are meant to sympathize with Adam Driver.
Right.
This is a good segment because I can't add anything, which is why I was talking about bullshit, because I'm
Well, I'm
supposed
gonna
to be
pitch the
talking.
movie to you, Jeremy.
but we're not.
But I am.
Okay.
So the thing with Marriage Story is that whether it's the kind of movie that you're into or not, the performances are really what's driving it. And I think one of the best things about it is that it shows you a topic that I don't think is featured well in a lot of movies, which is divorce. And I think that's a really, really cool concept because there's a lot of movies about marriages and there's a lot of movies about divorces, but usually when you see a divorce on screen, it's very like volatile and, you know, we hate each other now.
And it's not at all about the relationship that was had, which is what this movie is about. You're already when you're in film and talking about divorces, you don't have time to spend on why the relationship didn't really work. You're already at the point where it's like, okay, we've decided that it doesn't work and this is how we're dealing now with the future. Whereas this actually doesn't really like have a future. You're more just focused on what didn't work in their relationship and how that is now causing them to behave for the entirety of the movie.
Right. And I think it's a great movie to watch, especially if you're in a relationship, because it'll do one of two things depending on the strength of your relationship, and that's either it'll make you tighten up and realize like, hey, even if I think things are great with my significant other, there are things that I could do that are, you know, because I value this relationship, and sometimes I think it's easy to forget that. Yeah. Or it could have the adverse effect. And it could be like, you know, this is speaking to me. Right. Which I hope it doesn't. If it does, get out, because the movie doesn't make it look fun.
I could say too, just in the nature of the movie. Jeremy, have you seen 500 Days of Summer?
I have not seen 500 Days of Summer.
Anyway.
Great.
Well,
Jeremy.
my point was going to be that the only other movie that kind of focuses on, no, because that's just too comedic. The only other movie that kind of focuses on like what happens post breakup or like why a relationship didn't work and then how the characters are handling it afterwards is 500 Days of Summer. But it's not even in the same vein, but it's just, I'm just trying to think of like a similar thing. Or The Breakup. Did you see that one with Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston?
Oh, you know I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm even trying, but
the thing is, even you're bringing up 500 Days of Summer, which is a movie that I love. But I think Marriage Story is much more human.
oh yeah,
you know?
no, I agree. 500 Days of Summer is still a rom-com, even though it is a breakup story. It is still very much modeled like a rom-com. Marriage Story, the great thing about it was that it's modeled and it's based off like a dramatic play, and I think that that's really like intriguing to see a movie that's kind of done like a play, not as opposed to
Right,
you know,
because-
and not because it was a play first, but because of just the style that they chose based off of their characters, which was
And
really interesting.
In the movie, Adam Driver is a playwright, a New York
Right.
City playwright. So
And director.
The movie does this really interesting thing where as you're watching it, you're getting all these really long takes of them talking and really dialogue-heavy scenes. And it's only around the middle that you start to realize, like, everything kind of sounds like a play, and that's how they wrote the movie.
There's even song breaks. Like there are times when you always say to yourself, how do people think that musicals are like anything like real life? You don't just start breaking out into song in real life. In this movie, they show you how it's actually possible to kind of just break out into song in the middle of real life. And I found that very interesting.
Yeah, and and then by the end of the movie, it's not only is it entertainment, but man, like I mean,
good.
ScarJo got me early on, but Adam Driver really I was crying. It was so sad, but so well acted. Their last big blowout, which is all over the internet right now.
Yeah.
The movie's worth watching.
Nuggies.
Chicky Nuggies. Go watch the movie. I give it an A+.
Okay.
Now that
Alternatively-
Jeremy's sufficiently angry that we did a ride home review in the middle of this podcast.
Yes. Alternatively, I watched